Good morning, guys. What's up? Let's kick off the week. Hope you guys are having a good morning here so far. Market is open, man, and it's time to rock and roll. All right, how you guys doing? Good morning. Good morning. So volatility here, by the way, ATR is sitting right around 10, which is, that's reasonable. We can make that work. We can make that work to kick off the week, but things are looking a little bit tight as far as just how these candles are looking. It's smooth movement, but it's pretty tight. So we're going to do what we can. Again, my mentality here to kick off the week is unchanged. If we look at the bottom of your screen, again, the daily, I think this is probably going to be another head down scalping week. Currently, the market is attempting to break out, but we've seen a lot of attempts, and I trust none of them until, you get hit in the face and it's time to start trading the trend. Right now, it is not time to do that yet. So I'm going to let the market try, but not really take it too seriously until we have to. Right now, again, I imagine this is likely to turn into another sideways trading range, at least on the daily. Man, I want a trend just as much as the next guy, but we can only trade that when it actually comes. So this is a 2-minute chart. I'm going to be trading the 2-minute, same as last week, same as the week before. And if we need to switch over to the 5, because the setup, I think last week we switched over to the 5 to see if one setup, I think this was Friday, to see if one setup was going to come. It didn't come, so we switched back to the 2. We'll do the same thing here today. How you guys doing? Joe, good morning. Calinow, how we doing? Kevin, Jaybird, good morning. Trading Chris, good to see ya. Javaz, Carlos, all the regulars back at it. Manuel, how we doing? Gaines, good morning. Brandon Redneck, what's up, guys? Wolf Boy, good morning. All right, 30 seconds out here from the close of this 2-minute bar. Let's see if we get something interesting here. Well, it's good to have you, Jaybird. All right, here we go. Here's the rollover of this 2-minute. You guys see this? Inside close. Nothing I can do there, unfortunately, on that bar. On to the next minute 55 out. Let's see what we get. All right, now again, for those of you guys just joining us, ATR, which is the average range of a 2-minute bar here, again, we're looking at a 2-minute chart, is sitting at about 10, a little bit over 10, maybe 10 and a quarter-ish. Again, you can see that with that blue line bottom of your screen there. It's hiding behind the range of the last individual bar. But that's based on the last 10 2-minute bars, so it's again, we're averaging maybe 10 points a bar. So we have to think about that when we're taking trades, right? Again, what's the mentality here, at least for me, today? Head down scalp. Okay, so do I really want to be making 60-point asks out of the market? Yeah, probably not. Probably not. So probably going to be hitting some smaller scalps here if the market gives us something that's not just an inside close. So that's really what all I'm waiting on here now is a close that we can do something with. And I got to tell you, with this sideways action, which is not uncommon in the market as of late, I'm more inclined to look for reversion scalps than I am continuation. Market context. All right, let's do our weekly check-ins. What do you guys say? All right, what are we all trading? What are we all trading? I know a lot of you guys were getting funded, back to evals, funded, back to evals. How are we kicking off Monday? Jacob, good morning. Are you guys trading funded, evals, personal? What's up? Kevin, just passed an eval this morning. Good work. Gain still the 250k evals. Chris, 15 funded, 5 evals. Good work, brother. Scale that thing. All right, we got 48 seconds left here on this 2-minute. What's the problem, Jaybird? You struggling to get in or struggling to stay disciplined once you're already in? Which, by the way, people think that being nervous to take a trade is something else. It's just a discipline issue. Discipline isn't only cutting when you need to cut, not taking your profit way earlier than your plan tells you can. It's also taking the trade when it's there. I get it. You know, you lose 3 in a row. It's hard to be disciplined and hit the button when it's time. I get it. But that's also a disciplinary issue if you're struggling with that. If it's there, man, you got to put it on. Otherwise, you're messing up the sample size. All right, minute 45 out here. A lot of hesitation out of this market right now in this little sideways range. Top left, that's going to be your 5-minute chart. Top right, this is the 2-minute that I'll be executing off of. Again, daily down here, just showing the New York session. But this is the 5. Okay, so I'm looking at the 2 primarily, the 5 sideways action on both right now. Wolf Boy, can you explain how to read the ATR? That's average true range. Just added it to my chart. Do I look for a lower number to enter or a higher on a 2-minute chart? Thanks. You know, I don't use it in either way. For me, it is not an execution indicator. I'm not looking at it for that. I'm looking at it as a way to help me manage my expectations of trades and give me a reason to be patient on other trades. Right now, again, ATR is like 9.5, 10-ish. So it's low. Hold up here, we got 15 seconds here. Let's see. If we get a nice low close, you would think I would sell that rollover. We're going to get a bit of a wick back before the rollover. Nothing there. Had we gotten like a bit of a lower close, maybe around here, below 80, I actually would have bought that rollover back up into the range. Because also on the 5-minute chart, you didn't see this. Coming into the 20 EMA for one of the first tests of the day. Which again is nothing more than a self-fulfilling prophecy, but interesting nonetheless. Okay, Wolf Boy, how to read ATR. So, I'm just using it to make a reasonable ask out of my trade. All right, now if ATR, the average range of a 2-minute bar, is 8, right? And I'm looking for a scalp that I intend to take less than 5 minutes-ish, 10 at the most. Do I really want to ask for 55 points for my profit target? Probably not. Especially in a range market, if I'm asking for a 55-point profit target, what's going to happen to me most likely? It's going to maybe go 10, 12 points, and then most likely pull back and sit range bound and never really hit either and waste my whole day. There's opportunity cost. It's happened to me a couple of times here on stream. You end up sitting in a trade. It's a little bit frustrating, 2 or 3 hours. It meant to be like a 10-minute scalp. We try to avoid that. It's still going to happen sometimes when volatility collapses shortly after you enter. But there's opportunity costs involved there, and that's a problem. So a lot of people, they'll say, all right, when I'm scalping, I'll risk about the size of an average bar, try to make at least half the size of an average bar. So, you know, they're risking 1 bar-ish to make half to a whole bar. That's a very common way to approach scalping. It's not concrete for me. Depends on the setup, but I'm much more looking at it in that regard. It's not an entry trigger at all. It's just a way to manage. All right, inside close here. Minute 55 out onto this bar here. Ninja, good morning. How we doing? Bruce, good to have you. Yeah, you know, Jacob, it doesn't matter too much. I have it up for context. Again, the 5-minute 20 EMA, self-fulfilling prophecy. This one here, I could delete it and it would not make a difference hardly at all in my trading. I have it on there purely for feel. It feels weird to me to just be completely naked, right? But I could throw up a volume weighted average price. It wouldn't make much of a difference. Don't get caught up in the EMAs. You could throw up a 10 EMA, fine. It's just a small percentage of the decision making anyway. Okay, 37 seconds here. Six seconds. Let's see how we close here. Yeah, I'm going to sell that rollover. And I will place initial risk up here, and I'll drive manually. There we go. Now I'll go fingers on the hotkey. And we will drive manually. But now, listen, again, in a trend market, which this very well could turn out to be a bull trend day. I mean, you look at the 5-minute chart, a lot of people are probably already looking at this as a bull trend day. Me right now, again, I'm more inclined to not buy that quite yet until it's really, really obvious and I get smacked in the face with a pipe and it says, hey, you have to trade the trend. Until that happens, I'm more inclined to bet on the ranges, so this is just simple bet on the range. One piece of many. We'll just do our job here, manage to the best of our ability, and move on to the next. Again, ATR is only about 10, so we can't be looking for ridiculous big asks out of the market here. As much as I'd like to, doesn't make a whole lot of mathematical sense to be making big asks. At least for me. All right, we got 60 seconds out here from the close of this 2-minute bar. Let's see if the bulls put something together here. And for me right now, this is just a bet against the breakout higher. Why? Range market. Range market, range market, range market. Joe, like you said, Nico, you could be short for a quick scalp back in that range, while someone else could be long, willing to take on heat, looking for a move back up. Both could be right. Yeah, listen, we can do the same thing at the same time. I'm sorry, we can do opposite things at the same time and both be right or both be wrong. Common misconception. Just depends on how you manage it, right? What's your plan? Someone could get short for a quick scalp at the exact same time, or I could get short for a quicker scalp at the exact same time someone else is getting long for a longer intraday swing. We can both make money, or we could both lose money. Market is not right and wrong. It's extremely gray area with just slightly offset probabilities sometimes, which is what we're after. Yeah, ATR is sitting about 9. So, you know, a lot of scalpers right now might be taking 4 or 5 points. I'm looking more for like 8 minimum. At least on this scalp. Yeah, I got 7 3/4. Alright, that's alright. Let's move on. On to the next. Alright, 52 seconds left on this 2-minute bar. Let's see what we get for a close. The 379 is kind of a region of interest. Might be a couple of stops, not many. All right, 22 seconds out. Yeah, nothing on that bar. On to the next here, 2 minutes out. By the way, for those of you guys wondering, I am trading Take Profit Pros and Apex funded accounts here today. Take Profit still has a monster deal, 40% off, no activation fee if you use the best code always, which is code BIG, B-I-G. Well, a little bit of an early attempt at a bounce here. Nothing I could do there. Had we seen a close, by the way, beneath 79, a nice clean close on that 2 minute bar, for example, I would have bought that rollover. Not looking for continuation until it is clear that I need to be looking for continuation. Jacob, you ever misclick? Mouse was over closed position, accidentally closed. You know what I have done more? I've done this countless times. Is you guys will see, like I'm sitting here, fingers on the hotkeys, just staring, and sometimes it'll take 5 minutes, which is pretty uncomfortable, to be honest with you. And what I've done countless times is my finger will like twitch, and I accidentally close the position early. Completely accidentally. So yes, that has happened to me many, many times. All right, minute 10 out here from the close of this 2 minute. I mean, there's a lot of things you could look at here. You could see this. Yeah, you guys know what I mean right here. You can combine that with kind of a flat up top. I mean, if you wanted to zoom in a little more here on the 2, we could also, I mean, right? You could look at that too, which I'm kind of more inclined to look at right now since we are on the 2 minute. Things are tightening down here. Wouldn't surprise me if volatility calmed a little bit as we come to the head here. And then it's a 50-50 shot which way we break. Hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. Just get us out of this little wedge. Get back to giving us setups here. One trade so far today was a winner, but we're nowhere near done. Chris K, good morning. Kane, good morning. Good to have you, brother. Is that really your setup or is it a green screen? No, it's really the setup. It's all just in the room. I feel like a green screen's almost more complicated than to just actually have other stuff in your office. Do you use volume profile? Yeah, I mean volume, listen, I'm not huge on volume in futures. If you want to use it, more power to you. There's volume's great. It's real. It's not an indicator. It's just real data. Volume is a tremendous part, by the way, of trading like a small cap momentum stock. It's huge. It's everything. It shows you sample size at certain prices. But with futures, the market's so deep that for me, it takes a bit of a backseat. Now, on big moves, if you wanted to look at volume to see if the volume was slightly above average or massive, that can cause you to make a slightly different decision, right? If it's a range market and you get a big bullish move on kind of light volume, maybe you decide to short that. If it's a range market and you get a huge bull move on tremendous volume, maybe you want to look for news. And if there's really no news, then maybe you get long instead. It can be useful. I'm just saying that, you know, we're in the middle, trading futures, we're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Do I really want to spend 50% plus of my time reading the depth gauge? For me, it's not worth the mental capital so much. For you though, man, have at it. There's no one way to do this. This is a very, it's a very nuanced way to make a living. There's a million ways to do it. All right, here we go. Bulls with a little attempt at a break. Again, I have to assume it won't go very far until we get proof that maybe it will. Let's see how we close here. 33 seconds out until the rollover of this 2-minute bar. Go, what size account are you trading? I have a healthy mix. I have 150Ks, I have 50Ks, I have 100K statics, I have a 250K and a 300K. I think that's it. A healthy mix. Multiple of the lower levels up to 150K. And then I have one of each at Apex, 250 and 300. That's what I'm rocking. Yeah, 57 micros is a small position for the amount of accounts. And I do that for a reason, by the way. If I decide I want to add, I absolutely can and still stay well within risk parameters. Even if I double the position, even if I triple the position size, it's not. That's why trading small, especially if you have a scenario where, hey, maybe you add. Trading small on the initial entry is a really helpful thing, which is why I encourage you to scale this horizontally. Don't try to scale this vertically. Yeah, Derek, I agree. The 100K statics are actually pretty damn good at Apex. Pull plenty of money out of the 100K statics. Seth, Nico, what's your 3 nearly setups? Most likely to occur in highest win percentage. That's the wrong question. That's impossible to answer. If I could answer that, you should be very concerned that you're spending time with me. I can't answer that question because that ignores market context, and that is like number one around here. If you're going to trade price action and you ignore market context, good luck. Good luck. The same setup, I could trade the same setup in a trend market and lose a shit ton of money, and then I trade the same setup in a range market and make a ton of money. So I can't answer that question. Again, if you can answer, if anyone can answer that question, if they're trading price action on futures, that's concerning. Completely ignores what's important. Your data, by the way, it's a living, breathing thing. This isn't like you mix flour and water or whatever and make bread. It's like the sourdough starter or whatever the hell people have in their kitchen that's like half alive. That's your data. It's a living, breathing entity. It shifts with the market and you have to adjust things. Understand the context and make sure it's continuing to look good. You see this breakout failing, heading right back into the range like we talked about. Really, really common. 20 seconds out here from the close of this 2 minute. Let's see how it does close. Let's get rid of this guy. All right, ATR is now, I believe, below 9. Things tightening down a little bit. We're in the green, but I'd like to pad this thing here, man. Let's see if the bulls can put something together here. Inside close. Inside close here, so let's look. If this turns into this thing, start looking like this, then this is a little bit close to the middle of that range. Now, you gotta look at it from every angle in case you're missing something. Alright, I think we're good. You look at this from every angle. We could also be looking at a flat top here, 100%. Which is then a wedge. Jason, good morning. Good to have you. We're good. One trade so far here. It's not even close to done. We are green. But we're just getting started here. All right, 37 seconds. Now again, I am more inclined here to look for little reversion scalps, bet against breakouts going very far, and if they do end up going far or being stronger than anticipated, we cut that thing and we move on. Ooh, what in the world? Alright, we got a wick back anyway and close beneath this wick, so nothing we can do on that bar. On to the next here, minute 55 out. Let's see what we get. By the way, had this bar, if this wick had not happened, which is likely either an algo wick or some kind of glitch on MNQ. Can anyone confirm, did this wick happen on NQ or just MNQ? However, either way, had this bar closed above this wick, I'd have shorted that, but we did not get that, so no trade there for me. Yeah, it's on both. Okay. All right, minute 8 seconds out. Let's see what we get. All right, rollover in 7 seconds here. Gonna close as a doji, nothing there. All right, on to the next bar here. All right, I'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. right, we are back. Minute 14 out here from the rollover of this 2-minute bar. Let's see. Now, we could make the argument, of course. Right? But if we could see a nice low close here, somewhere below like 93-ish, that would be a buy setup for me. Again, head down, scalping here today. I gotta say though, it's pretty damn nice to be clear of 23K. Man, 23,000. I don't want to speak too soon, of course, but 23,000 has been an absolute pain these last few weeks. Market just gets glued to it and hangs out around there all day, kills volatility. Volatility today is, it's not tremendous, but at least 23's out of the way. All right, minute 30 out here from the close of this 2-minute bar. Let's see what we get. $50 seconds. Come on, Bears. Give us something to work with. Now also, hey, we gotta consider potentially a bit of a flat, right? This is more of an updated level here. This is us setting what could be support. Okay, but let's get rid of all these, clean up our chart, and see. 10 seconds out. Ooh, don't like that wick back. Hands off, no trade there. Closed as damn near a doji. Nothing I can do on that bar. On to this one, minute 50 out. All right, minute 15. Let's see if we get a strong close out of the bulls. I mean, honestly, looking at the 5-minute. There's the 5-minute. I would prefer to have a long setup. But I can really only trade what the market gives us, man. And after that big push, I mean, I would call this a range. Do we see a curl upside? Sure. But it being a range market, we also very well could just see us pull back to at least the 50% retracement zone. So again, it's very helpful when you're not in a trend market to just not hold any kind of bias. Just stay as unbiased as possible. If you start looking at the day in a trend market, I'm sorry, in a range market, if you're looking at the day and you know it's a range market and you're like, yeah, but this market's really bullish, man. I really don't think it's going to serve you very well. It'll serve you very well when the trend market comes, but big mistake. Do not be early to jump on the trend market. It's usually not here yet. All right, next bar here, 2 minutes out. See this inside close? Inside of this wick here. Nothing I can do. Stay disciplined. All right, 60 seconds out here. Come on, give us something to do other than a doji. ATR, by the way, we're sitting right at about 7.5-ish. Actually, close to 8. By the way, quick heads up, guys. You know that Apex has been running 80% off single day pass, which is a hell of a deal with code BIG. That ends in 3 days. Just to give you guys that heads up. So if you're trying to scale out your positions, I'm sorry, if you're trying to scale out your accounts, scale horizontally, Apex is the way to go. But that deal, you have 3 days left. All right, 10 seconds till the rollover here. Yeah, looks to be an inside close. Yeah, nothing on that bar. On to the next, 2 minutes out. You can see the 5 minute is just brutal dojis back to back to back. All right, 30 seconds. You know, again, just a reminder. Don't overthink the line. Just draw it. Just draw the average of what you think everyone else is probably drawing or probably looking at, or what the algorithm is detecting. I have my eye on that idea. Of course, it's not quite that simple. I'm looking for a moment in time when the bears have a little more confidence than I think they should, and then I buy the rollover. Bernard, hey Nico, do we have important news today or something? Because the market is dead. I mean, no, it's kind of a slow day as far as news is concerned, honestly. Just got to watch each bar and pull out what we can. All right, 55 seconds here left on this 2 minute. Let's see what we get as far as a close. Michael, I had it going short to sweep lows. Are we looking long? Man, I'm looking for anything that I think is a little overconfident from either side that I can fade. For me, and that sounds maybe complicated, but also oversimplified. To simplify it further, I want to bet on the range. AKA, I want to bet against breakouts. All right, new 2 minute bar here. Nothing on this previous bar. Inside close, of course. 5 minute chart. I'm sorry, that's the 2 minute chart. There you go, 5 minute chart. Still brutally low volatility. Back to a 2 minute here. Beautiful. Minute 10 out. Come on, Bears. Get nice and confident. And then let me bet against you. Need to see it close beneath 393, kind of at a minimum, within reason, of course. Can't have it turn into a, 70-point news bar. "20 seconds out. I'll get myself ready. I'll get the copier engaged. Just in case here. All right, Bears, 10 seconds. Take it down 4 points. Inside close. Nothing on that bar. On to the next. Minute 57 out. Right, come on now, Bears. There you go. Get a whole bunch of confidence going, good. Minute 15 out. Now these are consecutive bear bars, okay? So, I mean, there's a couple ideas here. You could, if let's say this closed right here in a minute from now, you could sell that rollover, look to take out some stops. I wouldn't be mad at you. That's absolutely an idea. Or you could say, hey, you know what, I'm going to bet back on this range. In my opinion, I really, neither of which I think would be wrong. It just depends how you manage them, okay? 35 seconds. All right, the lower this gets, let's see how this closes. Give it 10 seconds here. Yeah, I gotta hold off. I want to see this one bar here. I think right now this market can't decide. You know it's looking at this. If we take out this low here, you have some stops, right? Might push it an extra 5 points. However, then you're only 8 points in the money. That's a tough trade to structure. Let's see how this bar closes here. Minute 10 out. See if we can get a little more clarity. All right, 20 seconds. Yeah, weak bull bar. Nothing I can do there. All right, on to the next. You can see how this market seems a little confused what to do with this low. My cursor, that's that low right around 79. Yeah, you can see we took it out. Yeah, see, there it is, right? Take out some of the stops. Like we talked about 5 points, 5.5 points. At least initially. Now from here is the answer. At least to my question. You know, what's this market plan here? We got a minute 20 seconds. Now again, here, look at the 5-minute chart. We got to think about this, right? Market might see this. Right? Still a range market, even though this move is relatively strong. So I want to keep an eye on that region, right around kind of 70. 370. I'm willing to go short, but not before it really shows me that I need to. All right, 40 seconds out here. Struggling a little bit right around that 370 zone. It's a little hard to you know, if we get a big, strong close, I gotta tell you, it's a little hard to step in front of that and just bet on a reversion back to the range, because even if you're off on the timing by 20 points, you gotta cut it because the ATR is so low. These are just things you pick up with more and more screen time. How the math ends up working out for you. Yeah, you see that. I mean, the 370 zone, that's kind of the bottom of that little descending area that you know that the bulls are going to be looking at as a glimmer of hope. All right, new 2-minute bar here. We got about 3 minutes left on the 5-minute bar. Starting to get a little healthy little mix here of bear and bull bars. Could see this turn into a sideways trading range. So, you know, what I start thinking is, well, if I could throw out a stop limit buy, like say we got to close up here around 388 or 389-ish, 390. You know, I could throw out a stop limit buy just one tick above the close of that bar-ish. However, then, if you get ticked and it reverts right back, turns into a sideways trading range, now I'm sitting long at the top of the range, which I would have to cut, of course. But I'm okay with that, depending how this bar closes here. If we get an inside close, there's nothing I can do. But, you know, that's an idea if we get a higher close. All right, 41 seconds. Let's see what we get. And I gotta tell you, if we do get a close, and it's not incredibly quick, right above that 388 region, I might just, you know, limit in, rather than using a stop limit. In more of a range market like this, I don't really have much of a need. Still risking not getting filled, but I think I will. Let's see here. Gotta get a close above 388. Come on, bulls, hold it. See that inside close? Inside close, they're insecure, man. They're a little too insecure for my liking. See that? Shows a little more potential for the little sideways trading range that I can't have in that setup, so gotta hold off. Minute 35 out on this bar. Let's see if we can make a decision here at the close in a minute and a half. "55 seconds out." "30 seconds." All right. Well, let's get a little more confidence. Inside close, ugly, nothing. Nothing I can do. Next bar, minute 55 out. One second, real quick. All right, we are back. 40 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. Got about 2 minutes left on the 5-minute bar, 2:23. And 20 seconds left here on the 2-minute. Let's see here. bars. Give us a lower close. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Jacob, Nico, you ever look at ES on the side for more context? Yeah, I usually don't have it pulled up, but it's behind me. All right, 60 seconds out here from a dual rollover, the 5 and the 2. "30 seconds out. Big wick back on that 2-minute, man. You see that? Here comes the rollover. This market can't decide. It can't decide whether to break lower. We're beneath the 20 EMA on the 5. That was a dual rollover with the 2-minute and the 5-minute. You can see here both inside closes. Huge wick on the 2-minute. Sizable wick, at least half the size of the bar on the 5-minute inside of the previous wick low. All right, 45 seconds out here. All right, 15 seconds. Give this 5 more seconds. Limit order out. All right, we gotta fill. Initial risk I'll place right above the recent curl. Bring this up a little bit. See if we can get a little bit of a break. Little bit of a break. I'm not betting on a breakout. I'm just betting that the bears will try. Now we'll see if the bulls finally grow a backbone and take us right back up into the range. Or if I get what I'm looking for first. Little bit of what I'm looking for. I need a little bit more. Come on, Bears. All right, there's the rollover. Nah, trading ever after. We are copy trading. So that's the total. All right, minute 17 left here on this 2 minute. Well, at best, we were maybe so far on this trade at best. Yeah, really only about 5 points in the money. Need more than that. All right, 45 seconds left here on this 2 minute bar. Let's see how if the bulls can close this well, or if we get kind of an inside bar. Not tremendous. Not bad close out of the bulls, but it's not a tremendous close from them. Minute 45 out. There you go, Bears. Take out that little low. Come on now. It's at 8 1/4. All right, got to flatten. Again, we have a ghost order issue on the copy trader. We are now flat. All right, on to the next. All right, we're up 1790. Just getting started, man. Reasonable bear close, gotta tell you. But I want to see this next bar, minute 50 out. See that? Reverting right back into the range. Right back into the range. Here's what I'm looking at right now. Well, more like this. Pretty aggressive level, right? I mean... the more aggressive a descending or ascending little channel becomes, the more likely it is to break quicker. So we know that's there. Let's clean that up. Nice bar there out of the bulls, though. Nope, we took profit on that short. Yeah, nothing there on that bar. You can see I have no open position on right now. Position, by the way, position window top left and the lines on the chart are the dead giveaway whether I'm in a trade or not. I try to make it as easy to understand as possible. Thank you, Finn. Appreciate it. Alright, we've got 40 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. Let's see if we can get a nice clean close. No, Clark, I took profit on that trade. I didn't cut it. I took profit on it because we were pressing the ATR, which was about 8 points. And it did barely take out the low, but it didn't go very far, so I pulled it off. I wanted to see, you guys saw I had my cursor up at that, right around that low. I wanted to see if it would push in maybe an extra 3 to 5 points. We took it out. Less stops there than I kind of imagined there would be, so I took profit on it. All right, 6 seconds. Let's see how we close on this bar. Come on, Bears, give us a nice low close, and I would buy that rollover. Nothing there. Inside close on to the next bar. Minute 57 out. Samuel, I don't trade like you, mainly because I generally don't make any money. But I'm learning a lot from your patience and the profits are coming. Good to hear it. Good to hear it. Around here, we just do what makes sense based on the context of the market and the price action. It's the way to do it. At least in my head. All right, 55 seconds out from the close. Let's see what we get here. When you start getting a rollover like this, again, this is another situation where it's like, well, we get a strong bear close, absolutely, I can buy the rollover. The problem is when you start getting a rollover, there's oftentimes a point where the rollover gives out. So you can end up buying the rollover and just getting stomped on instantly. So to me, it kind of depends. I can make opposite decisions based on how strong the signal bar is if it gives you an entry to begin with. But we got 8 seconds out. Let's see how it closes here. Yeah, wick back upside. Not much to do there. On to the next bar, minute 55 out. Redneck, the rollover is literally just the close of one bar into the open of the next. That's it. All right, back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. All right, we're back. All right, we have 42 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. Good, let the bulls get nice and cocky. Let them think they're gonna do something. And if they can close this nice and strong, you guess what? I'm gonna sell that rollover. 20 seconds out. Copy trader engaged. Let's see what we get. Limit order out, and I am in. Protective stop in place. Bring this up a little bit. See if we can get a little push back into the range. Just a bet against a breakout here. Now we will see if Powell says anything of interest. But I'm alright with that for now. Not the worst close out of the bulls, but it is a shrinking bull bar. And a little bit of extra volatility here. No headlines coming through yet. All right, 55 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. All right, Bears, time to take this right back into that range. Relatively strong little sequence there out of the bulls. Got to see if they retake the wick high. Protective stops in that, you know, place for a reason. Risk on this trade, by the way, is less than 20 points. Seems like much higher because volatility is pretty damn low. We have 55 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. The bulls take out that little wick high here, right, this region. Then I want to cut and move on. Well, I mean, you know, ATR has crept up a little bit. We're back to 9.5-ish, but these last few bars, I mean, that last bar had a 4 3/4 point range, which is very tight. So again, if we take out this little wick high here, which it looks like we're going to, I need to stop and move along. Let's see here. Yeah, they're going to stop us out. There we go. All right, and we are flat on to the next. We have 20 seconds, by the way, until the close. We'll see if we have to do something here. We may just have to if we get a close above that wick. Yep, we'll give it about 15 seconds here. Limit order out, and we got a fill. Last second here. And I am driving manually. Well, let's see if those bulls head right back to the, not highs, but the high of that last little move. Again, flipping, I wouldn't call that a flip. These are really two separate trades, but when you flip direction like I kind of just did, it can really be hard on your psychology, by the way, if you end up losing both, which is never fun. But, you know, sometimes if it's the right thing to do, you got to put it on, and if you end up losing both, so be it. You suck it up and move on. What's up, Mike? Good to have you. By the way, there's the back test of the 20 EMA on the 5-minute. Just a self-fulfilling prophecy, nothing more. Right now, you're looking at a 2-minute chart. Good to have you, Chris. Red, how we doing? Still retesting the 20 EMA on the 5-minute. By the way, this is the 5-minute. We have to look at this, right? Right, now that this is pulling back, we got to consider, hey, is that gonna end up being a thing? We know it's at least something the bears are considering. Gotta look at the enemy's case first. So I'm thinking about that. Reasonable push here out of the bears. We have 1:20 left on this 2-minute bar. Let's see how they're able to close this thing. $25 seconds left here. Minute 10 out from the close of this 2-minute bar. Again, still watching on the 5-minute chart, that little descending resistance point. I don't currently have it drawn, but you can see it, right? We had it drawn previously. Chris, I want to know, why is the market so messed up today? Just your opinion. I mean, it's range bound. It's low vol, range bound. I wouldn't say it's messed up. It's just a little tougher, I think. What we all need right now is just more volatility. At the end of the day, that's what we all want. I gotta tell you, I don't care which direction. I just don't. This is the common misunderstanding with traders. Everyone thinks that when the market's crashing, traders are hurting. It's kind of the opposite, man. When the market's sideways, traders' lives are usually a little tougher. At least more frustrating, we'll put it that way. Well, back to break even on the trade here. See if we can take out that little high. $60 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. Come on, Bulls. Break us through. Take us straight to 24,000, baby. Total position, top left. Total. Nico, what is your strategy for passing evals? Well, Apex, I'm really aggressive. I still scalp. I still take good trades. But I size up. I trade a few minis. And I take A, B, and C scalps. Whereas I try to stick to only A and B. And I trade the micros on funded accounts. Opportunity cost is a thing. You spend 3 weeks in an eval, man. Especially if you're someone who's already taken payouts, that's too long. No, I'm not an all-in kind of guy on the evals. I still try to trade well, but I'm aggressive. I'll add, scale in, scale out. I size up. There's no ego, man, in passing eval. It's just, you blow an eval, who the hell cares? It doesn't matter. We're not here to impress our buddies. Who can blow the least evals? I would say whoever blows the most evals is doing the best because they can afford to keep trading more and more evals because their business model is working and they're actually getting an ROI. So if you're like hanging your hat on the fact that I've only ever blown 2 evals, it's like, bro, you're not doing enough. That's why. You want to be on eval number 8,000. That's the goal, isn't it? Of course, taking lots of payouts along the way. Of course, we want a positive ROI on average per account. Yeah, Jacob, it usually takes me more than 2 to 3 trades to pass an eval. But with Apex, because you can, if you use code BIG, you can trade them, you can pass them in 1 day. It's single day pass at Apex. So of course I always do. And I'm trading them in 1 afternoon. My mental capital needs to be spent on funded accounts. Not on evals, man. And if you're getting a good enough ROI, you can afford, that's actually the better option, is to be more aggressive in the evals. I'm never spending more, well, I shouldn't say never. I try not to spend more than a single afternoon on an Apex eval. But listen, that's just me. If you're someone who hasn't taken payouts yet, that's fine. You're just at a different point in your journey. Then maybe you should take a little extra time to find your edge for cheap, right? You have a different goal at that point. All right, 25 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. Take about 8 1/4, 8 1/2 points. All right, on to the next. Let's see how this bar closes here. 5 seconds. Little bit of a wick back. Let's watch the next bar, 2 minutes out. Joe, no pride here. Don't even know how much money I've blown through. Well, you should track it. But it's my investment costs, or should I say, startup costs like any business. Learned a ton and I'm okay with it. Yeah, listen, guys, you're starting. This is no different. No different. You should treat this as if you're starting a business. You say, okay, my prop trading business. What's my business model? What's my target ROI? What's my startup capital? How much am I willing to invest monthly if I get a particular ROI to scale? Right? You want this to pay you like a business, brother. You gotta treat it like one. Come on now. Your competition is out here treating this like everything. Like an extremely big business, people are treating this like. If you're treating this like a game, you're gonna get blown away, baby. Yeah, Rovio, I'm running a few statics right now. I think they're slept on, man. You gotta start the Apex statics slow. That's the difference. But once you get them out, kind of out of that little hole, man, I like them a lot. All right, let's see what we get here. 10 seconds out. See if we get a nice, strong close out of the bulls. They're wicking back. Ooh, reasonable wick back. Shrinking bull body. Gotta hold off. On to the next bar. Minute 55 out. Let's see what we get. A lot of new people here today. Appreciate you joining us. We have a whole bunch of regulars in the chat, by the way. Hope to see you become one of them. Vin, I would call you a regular, brother. Once I know you by name, you're a regular. And I know them all by name. All right, 40 seconds left here on this bar. We look up top, you can see here this little region, kind of right around 407, 408. 15 seconds. Let's see how we close. Give this 15 seconds, see if we get a bit of a pull back to the close. Limit order out. Perfect. Beautiful. We got a fill. Initial risk will go there. Of course, I don't need it to go that far. But we'll pop that down there, pop that guy there, pop up the open P&L. And we are sitting long. Let's see if we can get a bit of a push. Again, driving manually, cutting manually, taking manually. Those 2 orders out currently, those are just protective orders. But it's price action time here. Yes, Joe. 5 minute as well, 2 minutes ago. Had a nice little close on the 5 a couple minutes ago. Chris, I feel so down on myself right now. I was able to get my first payout, then suddenly, it's like I can't get back into that mental state I was once in. Well, Chris, the market changed, man. The market changed. Don't get so down on yourself about that. Maybe it's your first time seeing a market shift from like a bigger trend market, or at least a more volatile market, into a tight range market. Can't beat yourself up, man. That's a really big change. Most people can't handle that shift. The fact that you're still here is a big fucking deal. Dealing with those little shifts is one of the most difficult parts of trading, especially, you know, indices like futures like this. Well, I guess any market. You're trading options, like net sell option strategies, you got to deal with low IV environments. They pay you less. You're able to generate less premium. You're trading small cap momentum stocks. Cold market comes around. No one trusts anything that's popping. Things don't follow through. Hard time, right? You make less money. Futures, volatility tightens down, turns into a brutal range market. It can be a little bit frustrating, right? All right, we got a minute 30 left here on this 2-minute bar. Let's see how the bears close this out. No, John, I'm not thinking stop hunting here. If we look at the 5-minute, you know, we took out this little region. Just barely, right? Which broke this. This was the previous look. Right, so this idea here is to see, hey, can we push up toward that high of day? And if not, if the price action tells us otherwise, we'll cut it and move on. Nah, T says, no lie, still want to short, am I wrong? No one's ever wrong. I don't care if you're buying in a bear market or if you're like a crash day or you're selling a big bull trend. You know, I wouldn't necessarily count on doing so. However, probability is always between 30% and 70%. 90% of the time, it's between 40% and 60%, assuming a 1-to-1 reward to risk. Just keep the numbers easy. There's no right and wrong. There's just probability, perceived probability more so, and it's all gray area. We live in a fog. Just because I bought and you sold doesn't make me right, you wrong. Doesn't make you right and me wrong either. If one of us was right and the other was certainly wrong, guess what? The market ceases to exist because there's no longer two sides. Right? Think about it. All right, let's see if we can get a push. Well, not quite enough here out of the bulls. Half decent close though. You can see it's not an inside close. We did close outside of this little wick high here. Gotta leave that, see if the bulls can give us a bit more. By the way, ATR is still just below 8, so not tremendous right now. Well, not the greatest close we could have seen out of the bulls. Minute 50 out on this bar. Now again, average range of a 2-minute bar here is only about 7.5, maybe 8 points. Most of these little breakout attempts are not going to go very far. It's a range market, so we got to keep that in mind when we're scalping. I can't be making tremendous asks point-wise as far as profit targets. Got to do what's reasonable here, so. But looking for a little bit more out of the bulls than this. Good finger on the hotkeys, driving manually here. What's up, Chris? Good to have you, brother. Jacob, would you not prefer to just adjust take profit to a satisfied level, like break even? Rather than hovering over hotkeys? Well, I wouldn't move it to break even. I'm in the money right now. No, I prefer to hover over hotkeys. And the reason I do that is because these two orders out here are protective orders. Now, if news hits, which we've been seeing a lot of in the recent market, I want to be relatively equally exposed to a 50-50 black swan-ish. Not really black swan, but you guys know what I mean. High volatility 50-50 event like news, I want to be equally exposed. So if all of a sudden I bring my take profit down here, but I don't tighten my stop up. Yeah, sure, now I'm offloading it to the computer, but now I'm out of balance as far as being exposed to a 50-50 news event. Which, by the way, believe it or not, it does make a pretty tremendous difference in the data after the fact. So, no, I prefer to be manual. Now again, you could say, well, then just move your stop up, maybe below this wick, and move your take profit in to adjust for the volatility. Yeah, we could do that. However, now you're risking more chop out risk. Which is also can be a big problem with scalpers, especially in futures and lower volatility events like this. Or I should say markets like this. So I get it, it's a pain in the ass to sit here manually, fingers on the hotkeys. I know, I'm not a fan of it either, but gotta do it. Yeah, Chris. Rovio, I think we've got more than 5 Chris's now, man. All right, well, we're sitting break even on the trade, essentially. All right, let's see if the bulls can finally take us through. We were struggling here. We're struggling right here. So I want to see if we can get a little bit of rocket fuel pop through. Which is highly likely to be met with some selling. So I want to see if the bulls can just get that done. I can quickly maybe lock that in. Again, just bar by bar. Nothing here is set in stone. By the way, thank you guys who answer questions in the chat. That obviously you know the answer to, so it's very helpful for everybody. Well, ATR is dipping beneath 7. It's tight. It is tight. That's the average range of a 2-minute bar, by the way, if you're just joining us. In terms of points, it's now about 6 3/4. Just under 7 points is the average range of a 2-minute bar based on the last 20 minutes. Now, of course, I got to be open to the possibility of, you know, we get this grind higher, turns into a sideways trading range, right? Got to be open to that. Always be updating what you potentially see, but don't be reactive. All right, bulls, come on now. We barely saw about 8 points flash. Instantly met with a little bit of selling. Leads me to me to believe we may be looking at a sideways trading range here. Just want to see if we can press outside a little bit. Limit order out. There we go. Got to fill about 8 3/4 points. Now again, if this does turn into a sideways trading range, which would not surprise me if it did, that right there is just about the top third. So I want to flatten, get out, move on. Hey, Toby. No, I'm live every day, but usually for a few hours. All right, guys. Well, I think that's 5 trades so far today. We are 4 out of 5 as far as our win rate here today, 80% or so. So we're green, but I guess it's about time for me. I mean, this market's a little bit slow. It's probably going to start picking up, though, here in the next, I'd say, about half hour as we come in. By the way, this is a 5-minute as we come in for a test of the intraday high. But for me, right now, I got to hit lunch real quick and then come back and sit down and see what the afternoon brings. Listen, a lot of you guys are new here today. Really good to have you. Glad you're joining us. We have a ton of regulars in the chat. I know them all by name. I hope to see you become one of them. All are welcome, of course. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. If you have not done so, please subscribe to the channel. Again, I'm live every single day. And as always, baby, Apex, Take Profit Trader, make sure you use code BIG. That's BIG for the best damn deal. Always, no matter when you use it, both deals right now are good-ass deals, and they're going to be going away here in the next few days. At least Apex will be. We'll see about Take Profit Trader. All right, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day, man. Be patient. Let it come to you, but when it does, fucking hit it hard. Hit it hard. Do your job. All right, guys. No fear. Just execute. Move on. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.